Yeah, so I want to talk about where Jesus said, "Let the dead bury the dead." It's also from the Old Testament, but what's going on in the arbitration of the world? Okay, it's the arbitration of the world. Let the dead bury the dead, and people criticize. I have to point out the criticisms of the Bible. You see from the secular inhumanist, their arguments are always wrought with logical fallacies. It's really bad, and essentially they believe in censorship and just strong arming their illogical perspective because they don't believe in. Logic is, as Bertrand Russell said, was a flawed position to begin with. There's no real logic. Logic needs opinion of self and self-determination to function. So you see that the censors kind of concluded that the Bible is immoral and Yahweh's actions are always wrong. Here Jesus said, "Let the dead bury the dead," and they go, "See, that's narcissism. That's corruption," and there's no standard by which they're making their assessment. It's just a slander of the censors. They're just saying this. So to recognize all the important topics of discussion are really being arbitrarily determinate by the censors. So it's a big group, it's a big club, and you're probably in it. Okay, the number of people who believe in censorship, it's pretty much all the content creators. It's part of their economics to be like a worldly victor. And what we have, as he said, "Let the dead bury the dead," is people in alignment with the undying worm, the worldly undying worm. And that alignment, so the concept of, if you think it's a created world, as Enoch describes, and Enoch describes he describes the divine angels as being imprisoned on the earth. So it's a pretty controversial topic right there that's not discussed. I don't know anybody discussing this topic, but it is what Enoch is saying, that the created world has this arbitration where the angels are manifest to us in prison. Okay, that's even the divine angels are in prison. Okay, and that's an alignment of the worldly mind of the people who are not going to be pragmatic and logical, standing on the firmament of human sanctity. That's the gospel of Christ. It's secular humanism, by the way. Christ gave us secular humanism. So you look at the secular inhumanists, that's when you don't have Christ. You don't have logic. You don't have this rock from which you're hewn. You're not starting on the firmament. You're coming from this abysmal abyss, this ambiguity of the abyss, where Bertrand Russell is saying there are no virtues, there's no logic, there's just the selfish tenacity and self-determination. That's all there is. And in Bertrand Russell's belief, to side with the world powers is also the moral. There's no objective morality in his own expression, but he did express this, which is a contradiction to his theology or his logic or whatever you want to call it. He said it's best to serve the masters, however cruel and evil they are. That's the rational conclusion. That is the thing to do, and that is what we have with the Jesuit order. They are in the same alignment. This is their same perspective, and that is the Jesus said to be divided from these people, but these people are in union with this, and they are slanderous and dishonest because they're going to take the title of warrior of Christ, but they're not dividing from the worldly. They are being the lawless hypocrites. And see, these lawless hypocrites are enthroned and with their vulgarities of dominion. I want to talk about even something as basic and as fundamental as gardening. See, in my strange experience, I can come to some strange realization of and it was always vexing and troubling. I'm like, why is this gardening thing so turbulent? Why are there these crazy people coming out of the haywire system to just impede any kind of sensibility in my garden explorations. I can give you an example. I had a garden that what I used, because I was inclined to convert like a desolation into a garden. So if it's just sand and weeds, I want to have a self-sustaining, perennial, gardenscape. And that would be my challenge. I wasn't sitting there and going, hey, I'm going to try to grow, a tomato plant in a bucket of compost that I bought at the store. That was not something I thought that there's any purpose in that, besides pretending to be something. But my direction was to take like a desolation and to try to naturalize some kind of sustainable, because I knew that the potential was there, like that this is, in the right, with the right minimal effort, there could be a transformative value that could persist. And even that concept of having like a transformative value that's positive is something the worldly people don't want. They want to suffocate that. They want to increase the monetary power over humanity. That's really their driving force. But this is like, 30 something years ago, I didn't understand this. I just found it to be a strange phenomena and going, why are these people? Because one of my original gardens that I had come up with, I was using, I took green maple leaves, sweet maple, big, gummy leaves that I used as a mulch cover, and I would take scissors and I would cut them into little squares and put them on top of the sand, which to protect it from the heat and to add some nutrients, which would be a lot of chlorophyll, and it's a very sappy leaf. It's a very sticky leaf that kind of sun dries, and its molecular structures is kind of maintained in the sun drying. And I kept applying this, and it wasn't like it was just like one thin layer on top of the sand, and then I'd add another thin layer. And here, this is a foxtail, and I would harvest foxtail. If you cut it and it dries, it turns into very brittle, powdery stuff, and you can crunch it up and stays green, and it becomes like a nice, because you don't want to have a wet mulch covering. You wanted a dry covering, and I would use the maple leaves and I would use the horsetail. And I applied quite a lot of it, but what had resulted was this echinacea that blooms or what it did for the one season, it bloomed in May, and with the plant's only like 4 inches tall, consistently, it was blooming. The whole scope of the garden had blooms, and they bloomed until December 5th at least to that point, because I had left the area, but it was snow covered, still pushing out nice pink flowers, deep, rich green leaves, and all the other echinaceas in the area had been spent in September. And this is now December, still growing strong. Really special garden to my... it was full, too, full and plush. It was rose mallow, cosmos, and a handful of other snapdragons, and a handful of other things with the echinacea. And these garden Karens had overheard me talking about my garden, and they decided to put their hand on it. They said everything I was doing was wrong. That's not how you garden. And they had to demonstrate how to do it by tampering with it, and they destroyed it, obviously, completely, actually. It was a very, very fragile thing, and it turned into just a pile of sand and weeds as it was. They completely undid what I was doing, and that was my first experience with these people. But I've learned that they're always active. They're always there. This is the majority of people, the majority of the time. This is the world's dead people. They're always doing this. They're maintaining the Elysian realm of the underworld, the Hades, Tartarian prison. And it's your cross to bear as Jacob had apprehended Esau, the shadow creature of God, right? When you say Esau, they said it's God, but this is call it metaphor. It's a created world where this contest of values and integrity. It's conquest of integrity is the foundation of the peoples. This is as it is in Enoch written, the foundations of the heaven. That's what it is. How was heaven created? This is the foundation of heaven. So you have your mundane trials and tribulations, and then you have your expanded experience. That's how the world was made, and these are the contests that we have